Welcome to the Beyond Mentoring Eligibility Overview and Application Best Practices presentation for the Summer 2025 Beyond Mentoring Program. My name is Laura Maltz, and I'm the Associate Director of Advising and Programs at Beyond Barnard. In addition to advising, I work on planning mentoring-based programs like this one. We'll briefly talk about the Beyond Mentoring program, including its structure and goals. I'll talk a little bit about eligibility requirements for the program, and then I'll walk through quick application tips and best practices when navigating offers. Let's start by talking a little bit about the structure of the Beyond Mentoring program and its projects. All Beyond Mentoring projects come with a stipend, either provided by Beyond Barnard or your project host. I would think about Beyond Mentoring projects as micro internships or short-term projects. So they're shorter than a traditional internship. Beyond Mentoring projects are 20 to 30 hours over a 2 to 4 week time period. The large majority of the projects you'll see in the program are remote, although there may be a few offered that are either hybrid or in person, and that will be indicated in the project posting. The projects take place during summer break, so we broadly say the work should take place between June 1st and August 31st of 2025. And one of the great things about these projects is that they really give you the opportunity to build what we call transferable skills. Transferable skills are skills that you may build in one environment that can be broadly applied to other spaces you may be interested in. For example, you may be working on an editorial project helping an alum with their website, but then you're going to take those editorial skills and apply them in a different professional context as you move forward. These projects also give you the opportunity, because they're hosted by alums, parents, or friends of the college, to build meaningful connections with our community. And lastly, these projects help you gain real-world experience to add to your resume. In terms of getting ready to apply, projects will all be posted on our networking platform called Barnard Connect, and they will go live on May 19th, 2025. In order to get ready and to make sure that you don't miss any announcements about the program, be sure to create a profile on Barnard Connect if you don't already have one. The URL for that is barnardconnect.barnard.edu. And once you're in the platform, you'll get a notification once projects are live, and you'll be able to go in, view projects, and apply to positions of interest. Let's talk a little bit about eligibility for the program. First and foremost, you must be a currently enrolled student to be eligible to apply and take up a Beyond Mentoring project. Each student is eligible to take up one Beyond Mentoring project per program cycle. So the program has a cycle in the summer during summer break and a cycle in the winter during winter break. So it's okay if you did a project over winter break. You can do another one this summer break as long as you're just doing one project per summer or winter cycle. Another thing to note is that you must have work authorization if you're an international student to take up these projects. Work authorization is known as CPT, or Curricular Practical Training. In order to be eligible for CPT as an international student, you must already have declared your major, and the project must be related to that declared major. You must register for a 1-credit internship course, and ISSO, the International Student Services Office, can provide more information about the process for doing that. In terms of getting started and understanding if you'll be able to get CPT for the project, we recommend that you begin by reaching out to International Student Services. Their phone number is 212-854-1777, or they can be reached via email at iss@barnard.edu. Before applying and accepting a position, to further understand the CPT process and if it can be granted based on the time of year that you reach out and the nature of the project related to your major. CPT cannot be approved in all circumstances, and so it's very important that you reach out prior to applying to a position. And international students cannot begin their work for their project until CPT is approved. Now let's talk about some quick application tips and some things to keep in mind when navigating offers for projects through the program. So first, like any internship or job opportunity that you would apply to, you'll want to tailor your materials for the position. So that definitely includes your resume, and for some of the positions, they may require a cover letter. Both of those are things that you'll want to really be thoughtful about in terms of alignment of the way you're presenting your experience and telling your narrative to this particular audience. So for some quick resources on updating your materials, there are resume and cover letter writing guides that are actually available on Handshake. And so when you log on to Handshake, when you click on the link for Career Center, there is then going to be a tab that says Resources. Now, this is a big resource library of all kinds of great stuff that you'll use over your time here at Barnard for your internship and job searches, grad school inquiries, fellowship information. There's lots of good stuff there, but for the purposes of the Beyond Mentoring program, you'll want to scroll through and check out the resume writing guide and also the cover letter guides. And there are some good examples of well-written resumes and cover letters in that section. For quick document review, and really good document review as well, we have a wonderful team of advisors called Peer Career Advisors, or PCAs, and they usually don't have more than a day or two wait time for an appointment during the semester. And so to register to get your documents reviewed with one of our PCAs, when you log on to Handshake, and again, you'll click on Career Center, and then you'll go to schedule an advising appointment. As you're selecting the appointment type, rather than selecting meet with a staff member, select career advising with a peer career advisor, and you'll see all of their availability. And then for appointment type, you can select resume or cover letter review. In addition to that, all of our employers should be conducting brief interviews for the projects. And in preparing for interviews, you'll want to do a little bit of research into both the organization and also the interviewer or the project host. So we definitely recommend checking out any information that they've included in the posting about their organization's background. Go to their website, read a little bit about them. We recommend going on LinkedIn to look up the project host and read a little bit about their background. Because all of this information is going to help you answer the questions in the interview. Why them, meaning why this organization, and why this, meaning why this type of a project, right? Why this job function. In answering additional questions on interviews, known as behavioral questions, you can use a model called the SARA model. Now, behavioral questions in interviews are questions that ask you to tell a story that demonstrates some kind of skill set, usually a soft skill. So for example, tell me about a time that you had to work on a team, or tell me about a time that you used critical thinking to solve a problem. Now, to plan out stories to address behavioral questions in interviews, you can use the SARA model. SARA stands for situation, action, result, and then application. Situation is the context. So I was in this class and we were assigned this type of project. Action is what you did. So in order to research the project, I did a literature review, and then I put together a survey and analyzed the data. Result is how things turned out. So, from that information, I was able to distill the following conclusion. And then application is, how does this story apply or relate to the project that you are interviewing for? So I might say, from that experience, I learned how to use online library resources and how to break down a problem and make a persuasive argument, both of which I would apply to the research tasks that are being included in this project. So just a quick little example, but in brainstorming what kinds of stories you might want to share on an interview, feel free to use the SARA model to make sure the stories are complete and including all pertinent information that is very understandable to a listener. Now, lastly, I want to talk a little bit about navigating offers. Now, as you'll remember, each student is eligible to take up one project through the Beyond Mentoring program this winter. And so what that means is you may get multiple offers, and they may come in at different times. And you might be in a situation where you have to make a decision knowing that you can only take up one project. You might have to make a decision to accept or decline a project with incomplete information, meaning that you might not know all of the offers that are coming your way. So I want to talk a little bit about ways to navigate this, this experience with good communication, with transparency, and in an ethical manner. So first and foremost, if you get an offer for a project, but you know that you've recently interviewed for, or you are about to interview for a project that you think you might be more excited by, the first thing that you'll want to do is communicate. So you can express thanks to the project host that's made you the offer. You can say you're excited about the opportunity, and you can say you have a couple of moving parts in terms of your planning for winter break, and you're wondering when they need to hear back from you by in terms of accepting or declining the opportunity to work on the project. So I would get a date from them by which they need to hear back from you. Now, the date probably won't be that long because the recruitment period for the program is short because the project experiences are so short. So once you have a date that you need to reply by, I would go out to the other project host that you are in process with, and I would let them know that you have had an offer come in for another project, but that you are more excited about the project with them, and you're wondering if you are still being actively considered for the opportunity. And so this just lets the other host know that, you know, you would be very keen to work with them, but you are under a little bit of a pressure in terms of timeline and being able to get back to the other host, so that if you won't be accepting their position, they can kind of move down their candidate list. So it really comes with communication with all parties. We are also here at Beyond Barnard to talk through the decision-making process. So if you are finding yourself stuck in that situation, please reach out. You can come for drop-in hours, which is drop-in hours are every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. And you can talk through the decision with staff on site. You can also email me, the program manager, at lmaltz@barnard.edu. And I'm happy to hop on the phone and we can kind of talk through that decision-making process. Now, all of this to say that once you do make a decision about a project, it really is important to commit to that decision, and there's multiple reasons for that. One is, you know, if you were to accept an opportunity and then go back on that offer to accept a different opportunity, it does damage Barnard's relationship with that alum or with that employer. And we've seen this happen before where, you know, the host might then say, well, I'm just not going to hire anybody because I'm frustrated with how this process has gone. And so it has effectively taken the opportunity away from another student that would have been very excited about it and taken it up. So we want to try to avoid that. We also want to make sure that you're not burning professional bridges with, you know, with community members who, you know, work at different organizations that might be interesting to you. And this is good practice now because having to make decisions about your career with incomplete information is something that you will, I guarantee, experience again. And so it's good practice to have to sort of go through that decision-making process in real time with the support of our team together. That brings us to the end of this session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at lmaltz@barnard.edu. You can also reach our team at beyondbarnard@barnard.edu. Happy applying!